Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cozy Conversations. My name is
Hey,
Sarah,
my name is Taryn.
and we are so excited to welcome you officially to our Fall Cozy series.
Yes, I'm so excited for this series. I've been waiting so long. And we want to thank all of you that tuned in for our Back to College series. We hope that that
Yes.
was encouraging for you, those of you who are in that stage of life. And we're really glad. Thank you for listening. So, yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And I know it was awesome to have Khalil on the podcast too
Yes.
for that. So if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to those episodes, scroll back a little bit and you can definitely check it out. We have the awesome graphic Taryn made that says "Off to College," so definitely check that out.
Mhm.
This episode we're kind of just gonna chill. We're gonna relax. We're gonna just talk. We're gonna go over what we always talk about in each episode, um, books and movies and things like that, and then we'll jump into what each fall, most all fall cozy episodes will look like or sound like.
Yes.
So, Taryn, have you been watching any movies, reading any books? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I let's see. Okay, this week I read a Nancy Drew book. Very, very fun end of summer vibes. My family and I over the Labor Day weekend, we watched my parents watched Grease with us. And then we watched High School Musical because Grease reminded me so much of High School Musical.
Stop.
Yes.
Which one did you watch?
We watched the first one.
Oh,
Just so good, but
guarantee way to make me cry. Sit me down and make me watch High School Musical 1, 2, and 3. I will be
yeah.
sobbing by the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. So they're all just so good, but yeah,
Are.
we watched that. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
and then music I'll mention too. Um
Oh yeah.
I've been let's see. So I've been listening to I made a New York themed playlist on Spotify.
Nice.
I've been in love with. So I've listened to that. I've listened to a little bit of Phil Wickham and Taryn
Mm.
Wells and some other fun summer. My mom has a summer beach playlist. I have one too. I was like listening to that, especially because those days are slowly fading away. So yeah, it's kind of
That's
the update on
awesome.
my life. Yeah. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, so in terms of music, I have been listening to a lot of the Grey Havens lately. I don't know if you've heard of them,
I
Taryn.
don't think I have.
You should check them out.
Yeah.
They're very like chill and very thought-provoking lyrically.
Nice.
Um, and then the Arcadian Wild,
Okay.
they are really good too. Um, who else have I been listening to? That's pretty much it lately. In terms of movies, I haven't really been watching much TV lately, except there's this series on YouTube called Pro Chef and Home Cook.
Oh,
Like it's where a pro chef gets ingredients for like a certain recipe, and then the home chef gets like the ingredients for the same recipe, and then they swap ingredients.
oh, that's cool.
So
Very
yeah,
interesting.
it is. And then besides that, the reason why we skipped a week last week actually is because I was sick.
She
So
was.
surprise. We were supposed to record an episode and I texted Taryn and I was like, I cannot.
Yes. No,
Anyways,
it was good because it gave
um,
us another week
yeah,
to, yeah, anticipate the fall series. So,
yes, I
yeah.
agree. So if you hear me coughing, I'll try not to cough on here. Anyways, um, in terms of books, I've still been slowly making my way through. Oh my goodness, every time I mess up the title. I have it sitting right in front of me too. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is like the
Right.
prequel to the Hunger Games. I've been enjoying it so far. It's just taking me a long time because being sick, I can never read when I'm sick, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's what we always talk about in each episode, but let's kind of dive into what the fall, most of the fall most of the fall
Yes.
episodes will sound like. We want to focus in each episode too on cozy conversations. We talk about what the Lord's teaching us.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of gonna pivot a little bit from that, not too much, but we want to focus on a particular topic and talk about it. And so, perfectly fitting for fall, we decided that gratitude would be something that Taryn and I would want to talk about and share
Yes.
about during the cozy fall episodes. So we'll have a segment where we talk about what gratitude is and just like our own personal experiences. And we want to hear from you as well.
Yeah.
So you'll have a chance to obviously send us a message on social media, email us just to kind of share your thoughts on gratitude and things like that.
Yep. And then another segment we're going to have in these episodes is the fall fun fact segment that I'm super excited for. So every week I will be presenting a fall fun fact. So we'll be learning the history and just fun facts about different things that make up what we think of when we think about fall. And so we also are going to be releasing a quiz every week after the episode, so that so make sure to pay attention during that segment because you will be quizzed.
Taryn worked hard on these, and the fun part of it too is I don't know what the
Yeah.
fall fun fact is, so it's like something new for me to learn too, alongside each of you. And then we're gonna get into like fall recipes.
Yes.
Something easy, quick and easy that you can do just to like welcome fall and enjoy fall.
And if anybody wants to submit recipes,
Yes.
email your favorite fall recipes to us, and we will highlight those on the podcast too. So we would love to have your input on that.
Yes. And lastly, we decided on this today, but we're gonna have what I'm calling the mystery corner
Yes.
of our fall fun, cozy fall episodes. Got it, finally. Where I'm going to be sharing an interesting mystery of some kind each fall
Yes.
episode, where something that Taryn doesn't know about either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be making quizzes. You only have to do the fall fun fact quiz, but I will be sharing like a fun, interesting mystery about something each episode, except for one of them. So yeah, we're really excited about that just
So
because
excited.
it's kind of the time of year where like I know personally for me, I start reading more mysteries.
Yeah, me too. Fall just screams cozy mystery to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But most excitedly, I mean, this is all very exciting.
Yes.
But next week on the Cozy Conversations podcast, we will be releasing our interview that we did with independently published author Alyssa Zavalianos.
Yes.
And we are so excited because we did this interview with her back in July. And we were like, okay, it's going to be part of our fall fun series. And now is finally the time when we can announce it. So we've been
Yes.
teasing at a surprise here lately. So we're very excited for our conversation with her. We sat down with her, asked her about her writing. We also did what we normally do. We talked about like books, movies, TV shows, what the Lord is teaching us. And it was just a great time to like come together and get to know her, but also, have a conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yep. It was
stay
such a
tuned for that.
fun episode to record. And I love it too because she writes she calls it cozy fantasy, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so it just fits with our cozy fall theme and I just love it so much. So
it's so perfect. If you are looking for a book for the fall season, pick up one of Alyssa's books. Because like Taryn said, cozy fantasy, which you'll hear Alyssa talk about more next week, but cozy.
yeah, all
That's
the
the
cozy
vibe.
vibes. Yeah.
But today's episode, for it being our first fall cozy episode, we want to talk about gratitude, like we said. And we just kind of want to open like the discussion with asking each other like, what does gratitude mean to you?
Yeah. For me, like when I think of gratitude, one, I think of Thanksgiving, fall.
Yes, that's
But
the
two,
best holiday.
yeah. Um, two, I think of the verse that says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His loving
Hmm.
kindness is everlasting," and just like give thanks. All the Psalms, like Psalm 100 is a big one that just talks about giving thanks to the Lord, because
Hmm.
gratitude is so much about just thanking Him for everything that He's given us, and all the blessings He's given us. And then in like the last couple years of my life, it's taken on a whole new meaning of just how He deserves our praise and our gratitude and our
Hmm.
thanksgiving, no matter how we're feeling and no
Yeah.
matter what we're going through. And even on the worst days, we still have things to be thankful for, always
Yeah.
have things to give thanks for. It's like if we woke up, if we were able to get out of bed, if we weren't able to get out of bed but we were able to talk to someone, or we were able to you know eat food. Like sometimes you have to look for things to be thankful for, but
Hmm.
if we have a house, if we have clothes, if we have blankets, like you know and it's just, for me, it's like gratitude is just giving thanks for what we have and what the Lord has
Yeah.
blessed us with, like whatever it might be. We have so many blessings He's given us.
I love that. Yeah. Um, for me personally, I know with, particular situations that I've walked through recently where it's easy to be super negative about things and
Yeah.
just to be really down, and complaining about my situation or what I'm walking through or things like that. I think gratitude can be such like it helps shift your perspective.
Mhm.
Um, because when you're focusing on, there's like scientific studies on this too, actually, where they've like studied the brain, how it reacts with gratitude versus like complaining or things like that.
Right.
But when you're walking through something, you have to choose to be thankful for things. And like Taryn said, like even if you just go through a list of like, okay, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for this, and
Mhm.
you'll notice that you're starting to your perspective will start to shift from the negativity of your situation into gratefulness. And yeah, like Thanksgiving is a holiday and it's fun and there's food and football and family and friends and stuff like that. But really, there's something so important about being thankful and being grateful for what you're walking through, even if even if you look back and you think, "Oh, I'm so grateful for this." Because I think another thing too that I think about is like, you don't always see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You're walking through something on a day-to-day basis and then you get to the other side of it, and sometimes the Lord will bring clarity about a situation and you can look back and be like, oh my goodness, like this is what was going on behind the scenes. Um and that's just something else to be grateful for too. But it's just being in the moment, but also focusing on what the Lord has done for you, what he has done and what he is going to do. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what great gratitude means to me.
That brings to mind, for me, there's a lot of passages in scripture which we might be kind of highlighting in the next few
Yeah.
weeks, but there's so many times when, especially in the Psalms, where they give thanks for something the Lord has done in the past. And
Mhm.
like just like you were saying, like that's such a theme, because when you look back and you remind yourself of His faithfulness and like what He's done
Yeah.
for you, it's like, even if things might be really dark where you are in the moment, you still have things to give thanks for what that He's brought you to this point. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good, Sarah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think too, like when you are walking through something, to think about that. That's important because like Taryn said, that like we don't always see the bigger picture of what is happening.
Mhm.
Um, so that's just really important. And that's something too that we want to focus on with our fall episodes. So what we want to do too is we want you to share like moments and times in your life where you have had to have like a heart change, to
Yeah.
focus on gratitude too. So be sure to send those our way because maybe we'll read them and we'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
We want to interact with with all of our listeners as much as we
Yes.
can.
Because we have this episode that's coming out today. And then next week is Alyssa's interview. And then the week after that, we're jumping back into this format again. So that gives you 2 weeks, everybody. Like send something along because we want to like Taryn said, we want to interact with you and like get to know you more as our listeners because we're really thankful for you and really just excited about where the Lord has taken this podcast and where he will take it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Is it time for the fall fun fact
Taryn,
segment?
I think it's time for you to go all fall fun fact on us.
Yay.
I'm
Okay.
excited.
So today we are learning about the history of the candy corn.
Woo!
Some people love them, some people hate them so much.
Where do you stand on that?
I'm kind of in the middle. They're not my favorite thing, but I definitely will eat them.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Like, I'm not gonna be like, ooh, let me pick up a bowl of candy.
Exactly.
But I'll be like, oh, it's candy corn, and like eat one.
Yeah, exactly.
You used to make the trail mix.
Yeah, that's my mom came up with that. Like she always made it growing up. So she would make candy corn, so fall candy corn, dry roasted peanuts.
Oh yes.
And fall M&Ms, and y'all, it's the most addicting little like, yeah, it's so good.
Not just fall because candy
That's
corn,
true.
they come out with different colors every time.
She started doing it for each season.
It'll be like Taryn would have literally a bowl of this trail mix in our dorm.
Yes.
And like each season it's like changing color, but it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So much fun. But so candy corn is actually over 100 years old.
Oh wow.
According to legend, a Wonderly Candy Company employee named George Renninger invented the candy in the 1880s. So it's now the Jelly Belly Candy Company.
Yes.
They started producing candy corn around the turn of the century and continues to today. So it drew its inspiration from a society that was highly agricultural. And the candy was meant to appeal to farmers, ranchers, and their families. This was really interesting to me. So the research I did said that at this time, corn was not part of the human diet as much. It was mainly used for animal feed. So the candy corn was like a funny and like special treat that people had. So that was really interesting to me. The 3 color segments, so like the white, the orange, and the yellow of candy corn, having the 3 colors in the one candy was considered revolutionary at the time. And at first it was only made seasonally, so in the fall, because there was not automated machinery yet to make candy. So it took a lot of men to produce the candy corn. And they would mix sugar, corn syrup, and other ingredients, and those were cooked in large kettles. And then fondant and marshmallow were added to give a smooth texture. And then they would pour 45 pounds of the warm candy into buckets called runners. Men called stringers would walk backwards, pouring the candy into cornstarch trays imprinted with the kernel shape. And it would take 3 passes to make the white, yellow, and orange colors. So a lot of work to make candy corn. Yeah. And then originally, just fun fact, it was delivered by wagon in wooden boxes, tubs, and cartons. And this is really fun too. Candy corn was not called candy corn originally. It was instead called chicken feed. It was packaged in a box with a colorful rooster logo and a tagline that said something worth crowing for.
You're kidding. That's so funny.
Now more than 17,000 pounds of candy corn is produced every year. And obviously we know it's expanded to not just be a fall colored treat anymore. They have Christmas candy corn, they have spring candy corn, all sorts of different types of candy corn. And we also now celebrate National Candy Corn Day on October 30th.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Go out, buy your candy corn for October 30th. And that concludes our fall fun fact segment.
Fall fun fact with Taryn. That's the theme song.
I love
That's
it.
interesting. You know, the Jelly Belly.
Yeah.
Interesting you mentioned that. I think I knew that because there's the Jelly Belly factory is where I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah, and my great uncle used to work there. And you
So
could go on the tours and you could like see him working. And you get the
that's
little hat.
yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Fun
It's really
facts with
cool.
Sarah. I
Oh
love that.
man.
Oh, so since we talked about candy corn, it's fitting that we jump into our fall recipe segment of the podcast.
Yes. Taryn, what do
Sarah.
you got for us?
Oh, okay. So the one that comes to mind for me is one of my favorite things to make, and it's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not remembering the exact portions because I actually eyeball it a lot. So, but I will find a recipe and
Me too.
we'll link it below. But
Yeah.
basically, it's a dump cake. I love dump cakes. I think they're so delicious. But it comes out. It's like a it's not like a cobbler, but it's kind of the same idea as a cobbler. So
Okay.
what you do is you get a pan like a 9 by 13, and you put like any sort of pie filling you want. So
Oh.
cinnamon apple, you can do pumpkin, you could do pumpkin and cream cheese. You can kind of just have fun with it, any sort of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And you pour that on the bottom of the pan, and then you just take a cake mix and you pour the cake mix over the top dry. So spice cake mix, yellow cake mix, chocolate cake mix, depending on what you're making, it can be any cake mix. You just pour it over the top, and then you take, I think it's a stick of butter, but it varies. So I'll link the recipe. But you melt butter, you put melted butter all over the top, and then you pop it in the oven and you cook it, and it comes out tasting absolutely delicious.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
One
Mine's
of my
not as fancy. My recipe's not as fancy.
What's your
But that
recipe?
sounds really good. I literally made this last night. So you take apples, you cut them into like whatever size you want them to be, and you put them in like a saucepan, and you put that with like a little bit of a couple tablespoons of water, a
Okay.
dash or so of apple cider vinegar, and then I like to add raisins,
Nice.
and then you just like sit that on the stove for 15 to 20 minutes. And then you go in and the apples are soft and you can kind of mash it up like and make it into applesauce.
I love that. And she sent me a picture of it this morning. It looked really good.
It's pretty good. That's my plans for after this podcast recording.
Yes. Such
That
fun
in my
fall
book.
Yes. Always the book.
Yes.
So good. Sarah, is it time for the
I
mystery
think it's
corner?
time for the mystery.
I'm
This
so
is exciting. Kind of the goal with the mysteries too is to do something not in our decade.
okay.
Because I feel like those are scarier than these ones.
Yeah, for sure. There's just something about something happening outside of your lifetime that doesn't make it as scary. I don't know why.
Well, this isn't scary at all,
Okay,
but it's
good.
just fascinating to think about because I had no idea that it was even a thing until, oh yeah, I was watching a YouTube video the other week about her books and I learned this fun fact. But I love reading Agatha Christie books.
Yes,
She
classic.
writes some really good classics. And this reminds me of the book, one of her books, And Then There Were None.
Yeah.
If you like mysteries and you need a good mystery to read this fall, And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie is your book, Breck.
Didn't we
Moving on.
go visit you and I?
That's what I was
Yeah.
getting to. Yeah.
Okay.
So they at Liberty they did a play, the play version of And Then There Were None. And the fun thing about it is that each night before the show started, the actors would like flip a coin, and whichever side it landed on. Oh no, I think it might have just been like the director or something. I don't know how they figured it out, but like the ending changed each night. So it was
Oh,
like a different ending. And like the actors didn't even know like which ending it was gonna be.
that is crazy.
And I just remember like being because it was in the black box theater. It's
Yeah.
not like your typical theater because it's like you're like inside of it,
Yeah.
inside of the play almost. But basically the premise of it, And Then There Were None. 10 strangers get invited to go to this deserted island. Not really deserted, but where there's like this mansion on the island. And then they each get like murdered one by one. And so they're
Yeah.
like trying to figure out who did it, who done it. But Agatha Christie didn't know this, But in 1926, she disappeared for a total of 11 days.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm. And the story goes that in August of 1926, her husband Archie had asked her for a divorce because he was having an affair with another woman. Um, so that's just kind of setting the scene that he was
Okay.
like falling in love with this other lady, and he basically told Agatha like, I want a divorce.
So sad.
Yeah, honestly. But on December 3rd of 1926, the two had an argument, Archie and Agatha. And Archie kind of stormed off and he announced that he was going to spend the weekend with his friends and that Agatha would not be going, which Agatha was fine with at that point because she
Yeah.
didn't want to be part of that. But the story goes that Agatha and Archie's little daughter, Rosalind, was playing downstairs with, like, I think their nanny or something. And or she was playing upstairs. And Agatha goes downstairs, leaves a note to the nanny saying, like, hey, take care of Rosalind. And then Agatha gets in her car, a Morris Cowley is the type of car, and drives off.
And that's it.
And yeah, kind of. And the next morning, actually, her car was discovered at what's called Newlands Corner in Surrey, parked above a quarry with the driver's license inside and some clothes.
Oh my gosh.
And so people think that she was trying to like cause an accident. So there some people have speculated that she was trying to maybe commit suicide, because the car was found also like near this pool that was like kind of known for that. Um,
Gotcha.
but basically, she went to this place called the Swan Hydropathic Hotel in Harrogate, Yorkshire, which was 184 miles north of her home in Sunningdale. And she registered or she checked into this hotel under the name Mrs. Tressa Neal from South Africa. And
Whoa.
basically, Agatha lived her life, no disguise or anything. Like, think about it. I mean, there's no internet.
Right.
And she lived her life for 11 days. And even, this is cool too. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, because people after a while, people were like, okay, where's Agatha? Because she was really well
Right.
known at that time in England
Right.
for being the mystery writer. So
Uh-huh.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, which I don't know if you know him, Taryn.
Sherlock Holmes, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, he
Uh-huh.
wrote Sherlock Holmes. He was even like taking up like a search for her
Whoa.
weirdly by going to like a medium to tell me where she is.
Wow.
That's not gonna help you. But basically they're looking for her and eventually they find her after the 11 days. Um, and people say that there's a couple like conspiracy theories because she never talked about her disappearance except for
Wow.
one interview in the following year, I think it was, where she just kind of mentioned it like briefly and like offhandedly.
Wow.
So people think that she intentionally disappeared to try to draw attention to her husband's affair and to
Oh,
publicly shame him.
okay.
Or people think that she went into like, because she was actually, some doctors diagnosed her with a quote questionable genuine loss of memory.
Oh. So like she had
Um,
amnesia or something?
they think that that could have been what happened.
Wow.
Um, but basically, she disappeared for 11 days. Her husband eventually found her. And she wasn't very responsive too when her husband came to find her. So
Wow. Makes you
they
think
don't
she
really
did have
know.
like a medical something.
Could have been, yeah.
So interesting.
So
And it was
yeah,
like so was this like a retreat hotel? Like a wellness? She just decided she needed
it was
a
just
little
a
spa time.
hotel. I think
Wow.
like a little spa time, yeah. And it was funny too because she like checked into the hotel. Like I said, the name Mrs. Tressa
Yeah.
Neal, but you
Uh-huh.
have to remember. I don't think I mentioned this, but Neal was the surname of her husband's mistress.
Oh, wow.
So that's another like fact to the puzzle that is
Whoa.
interesting. So there's a lot of like books, and I think there's a TV show on Netflix that I heard about that, considers her disappearance for 11 days, because she then went on to write, because that was in 1926 and she didn't die until 1976. She went
Wow.
on at that point to like write, I think the Murder on the Orient Express was written after that time period.
Wow.
And it's funny too because like she's such a crafter of mysteries.
Yeah.
And kind of like the queen of crime is I think that's what they call her, the queen of mysteries.
Yeah.
And then she like has this huge mystery surrounding her life that she never talked about.
Yeah. That's just so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Shara, A+ for the mystery corner
Thank
in
you.
today's podcast. I
It was,
just learned so much.
yeah, thank you. I learned a lot too. I literally listened to a podcast, another podcast episode about it. So source material from the podcast, Conspiracy Theories on Spotify, and I'm also just looking at the Wikipedia page on Agatha Christie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So interesting.
yeah. Well, that wraps up our first fall fun cozy episode almost.
Yeah. We hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yes, let us know what you think. Send along your gratitude thoughts,
Mhm.
things like that.
And your fall recipes.
Yes, and the fall recipes too. Stay tuned next week for our conversation with Alyssa because it's a good one, super encouraging. We're really excited about that one.
Yes.
But it's time for Cozy Q.
Yeah. Our cozy cue of the day is, what is your favorite fall dessert?
Mm,
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one. I think
this is hard.
mine would have to be either the dump cake, like made with like apple, like caramel apple dump cake or something pumpkin, or peach cobbler. We have like a family recipe of peach cobbler, and my mom makes it in the fall, and it's so good.
That sounds
Yeah.
really good. I love a good apple pie,
Yeah,
just
apple pie is good.
classically. Trying to
Yep.
think what we normally do at Thanksgiving. But pie is kind of a big thing.
Yeah,
Pecan pie is good too, just the one
I
from
like
Cracker
pecan pie.
Barrel even.
And I like pumpkin pie.
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
had to choose though, apple pie is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can never decide which one's my favorite.
Honestly, same.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
fall desserts
This
for
was
the
fun.
win. This was fun. We hope everybody enjoyed it and got to cozy up and listen today. So
Yes. Yeah.
we can't wait for next week. So
Yes. And keep in mind next week's episode we recorded back in July.
yeah.
So
Very true.
we tried to bring the cozy fall vibes, but
Yeah.
it's good though. I'm excited.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Well, until next time,
Until next time, and stay cozy.